guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 movies. This is just my opinion, so you don't have to agree with me, but these are just some favourites that I would like to tell you about. So, first of all, number 10, Mean Girls. See, this was an old favourite of mine. I don't necessarily like it as much now, but I used to watch it. It's about this girl, she moves in from Africa, she meets these new friends to try and fit in, and they're mean and they cause trouble for her, and she likes this boy but they don't want her to be with this person because obviously they're a bit mean and they're trying to stop her. And the main leader of the Mean Girls is actually the ex-girlfriend of the person that this girl likes, so they try and stop her and they create problems until in the end they create like this book throughout the movie, and it's called Burn Book, and they write really nasty things about people in it, and it gets out and she gets the blame, and the movie kind of goes on from there. So I like that. I like 1 and 2 because they've got different actors in, and I like this type of movie because it's a bit of drama but it's also romantic and stuff at the end of it, but I'm not going to spoil it too much. So for number 2, I would say 10 Things I Hate About You, because like I said, this is also romance drama, but it is quite clever the way the story's wrote, and it's got a legend in there from Marvel movies and stuff like that, like Batman. It's got Heath Ledger in it, so it's good. There is also a thing about this movie that I like because the action in it, it's not too much, but it's enough to show the audience what it's trying to convey. And basically it's about this girl who's not very into dating, and she has a sister who's quite popular who is, and her sister wants to go to a party and date this boy that she likes in school, but her dad won't let her until her sister does it. So without spoiling anything too much again, this boy gets someone paid to go out with her sister so he can date the other sister, and it all kind of goes on from there, and it's a bit wild and it's a bit crazy, but it's a good movie to watch, so I recommend that one. The next movie I want to talk about, number 8 for me, would be Camp Rock. Now this is still today one of my favourites. It's a good movie and it fits a storyline really well. It's a classic like high school musical type film where all kids are like in high school and stuff like that, and it's a musical obviously, and they've got some really good songs in there. I like to sing along to them, and it's a really good storyline. And this is like the classical romance, boy meets a girl, there's problems, they can't get there, but the way the story fits, it makes like the girl feel like she has to lie to like someone, but in theory it doesn't have to be that way, as you see in the movie, because he likes for who she is. So that kind of movie is kind of about like her story and how she has to lie to get someone's attention, but it turns out that he likes her in the first place, so she doesn't really have to lie, if you get what I mean. Number 7 for me would be Descendants. Now this is an all-time favourite of mine because when I was younger I used to have a little bit of a crush on King Ben, Mitchell Hope, because who doesn't when you was younger? But today this is an actual favourite today, not because of that reason but because of the storyline, because it's not like an everyday romance movie where you've got ordinary people. They are portrayed as like villains kids, like from big villains like Maleficent and stuff like that. It's the children's story rather than their story, so it's quite clever how that's put together and how the storyline flows. And it's about basically a villain kid. She fancies this king and she uses spells to get him to like her because she wants to be with him, but it's all part of a trick. She doesn't actually want to do it, she just wants Fairy Godmother's wand. But in the end, when she's with him, she starts to like him for him and not because of his power or his status. and she starts to fall in love with him. So the whole movie's about how she starts off evil and she gets like nicer and nicer and nicer throughout the film until she actually starts to find love. So it's a really good movie, and it's also a good movie to watch. Next one is a big favourite of mine, number 6, is Pitch Perfect. Now this has been a fan favourite for quite a while of mine. It literally is great because I love the storyline to this one as well, because it's a classical romance movie, but there's some aspects of leadership and taking over groups and stuff for a cappella, and I don't usually like a cappella singing, but the way the songs were structured and put together in this movie, it flows really well. I'm a big fan of 1 and 2. I'm not that much of a big fan of 3 because I feel like 1 and 2 was enough, but 3, I didn't really see the point of it, and it was all a bit confusing, like how the storyline went, but I could be wrong. This is just my opinion. If you guys like 3, then tell me in the comments. I'd love to know your opinions. Next one, number 5. This is still a good one to this day. What a Girl Wants. I haven't watched this movie for ages and I've kind of gone off it, but this is the typical father-daughter one, more like, but it's romance as well. It's where a girl doesn't have a dad in her life for like all her lifetime, and she goes out to find him one day, and it's like at the other side of the world, or other side of her country, because she's from a different part of the country to his. So she travels and then she meets stuff, she gets into problems. She's a bit mischievous at first, but then she starts to fall in love with this boy who she starts spending a lot of time with. But then she finally meets her dad, and her dad's kind of like a high, almost royalty type thing, and he makes her act in a certain way to save his job, which then her newfound love interest doesn't really like all that much, and he starts to get a bit dubious and a bit suspicious of why she's acting like that, because she's not fun anymore. She spends all the time going to like stuff that are royal and barely has any time for him anymore. But at the end, it's a happy ending. It all works out really well. This girl has a dream, and it's to do a dance at a wedding with her dad, because she's always been to weddings and she's never had the chance to do a father-daughter dance. So it's quite a nice storyline, and it's quite emotional if you are an emotional person. So that's a good one also to watch. Now we're getting down into the top 3 almost. So this is number 4, and I believe Midnight Sun would be my 4th. I like this movie a lot because not only do I like Patrick Schwarzenegger, but I do like the movie itself because it's different from movies that I've watched before. It's about this girl who has a really unusual like disease, and she doesn't live an ordinary life like the other children, and she only can go out at night time because she's actually allergic to the sun. So if she gets like a little bit of sun to her, she could potentially die, which she has to stay indoors through all the day, and her house is like specialised to protect her and stuff like that. And it's like really completely different to the other children who go to her school. So she goes out at night time and she likes to play her guitar, until one day she meets her crush, and she watches him from the window because she can't go and say hi. She's never met him, so she gets a bit scared. And then the more time she goes out at night time, she meets him and stuff like that. But this movie's a really sad movie. It's quite emotional, and I cried at it once because I'm not almost an emotional person, but I do cry at some movies if they are sad. But this one is one that is sad, in my opinion anyway. You might not find it sad, but please let me know if you do, or please let me know if you agree with me. Now, my top 3 would be, so in the 3rd place, it is going to be She Is the Man. Because She's the Man is a quite comedy, drama type movie, and it's actually got the same actor in that I previously mentioned, What a Girl Wants. It's got the same actor in as that. But this one's about her brother obeying rules and that after everything they've been through. He's not really one for following rules or anything like that, but she is. She's like a goody two-shoes and stuff like that until she goes to this thing. She actually is a football player, but her team gets cancelled and she's not really allowed to be on a team anymore because the coach doesn't agree in female footballers, which I don't see the problem in that. And she actually pretends to be her brother and gets dressed up as her brother and goes to a different school and tries out for the boys team, and that actually goes really well for her until the mistake of her brother coming back from London after visiting his dad, where things go a bit sideways. So you should totally watch that. It's good but a little confusing if you don't understand what's going on. Next up's number 2. This would have to be Kissing Booth. I absolutely love Kissing Booth 1 and 2. They are one of my favourite movies of all time. Like, I thought the first one was good and that, but the second one just beat it. It was really good. It's about two brothers who, one's this girl's best friend but one she fancies, but they create a list. It's called the rules of best friends, and they make a list of rules where if they do something they have to make sure it doesn't obey the rules. And they made this when they was like younger, so obviously to this day they still follow by it, until one day this girl, the best friend of Lee, fancies his brother Noah. So Noah and Elle get together in secret and it's not really that great, and it's a bit selfish because of these rules that they made up, until Lee gets a girlfriend and he starts to realise that he does more with her than her best friend, but doesn't let her best friend have a boyfriend because he believes that Noah is not right for her or not good enough for her. But they actually make a really good couple, a cute couple. So I disagree with what Lee says, but the movie is good and it gets you motivated, and you don't know what's going to happen next because there's so many ups and downs in the movie. Like, they're together, then they're not, then they're together, so you never know what's going to happen next. It's like a mystery, and that's part of the reason why I like it so much. So totally go check that movie out, 1 and 2. And right now, number 1, this is my ultimate favourite movie of all time. I cannot wait for the 3rd and 4th movies to come out, and that is After. It is a great series. Well, it's going to be a series because they're going to, well, not series really, sequel. And there's already 2 movies out. The first movie is about Hardin and Tessa. And now, Hardin's one a lot of people like in the movie, and obviously outside of the movie. He's got a lot of fans, maybe crushes. And he's quite a player in the movie, and he meets this girl and she's kind of like completely different to his ordinary girl choice, and she doesn't really fit in the school, and he makes her dare with his little mates at the party when she's there to hook up with her. And then when he finally meets that, he does get far and he hooks up with her and falls in love with her, which was what the game of the dare was. But little does he know that Molly, his friend, is a bit selfish and she wants him all for herself. She's one of these that doesn't like Hardin having anyone else or actually falling in love with someone proper. And as Hardin realises that he starts to fall in love with Tessa through this, Molly doesn't like it, so she's out to destroy them. And she shows them the video of this clip about Hardin saying that I can make her fall in love with me and really fall in love with me, then I'll break her heart. And Tessa obviously goes mad, and then the second movie's about how they get back together, they then fall out, and it's just like another one like Kissing Booth. You don't know what's going to happen next because there's so many ups and downs, there's dramatics, there's like romance. There's so many people falling in love in different places, and it's really quite intriguing to watch. And like I said, it's one of my all-time favourite movies because of this reason. It's not predictable and it actually works quite well. So, and totally recommend that. They also have a book series out as well, so if you would like to watch a movie and read a book, then you can go buy all 4 books, which actually tells you about the 3rd and 4th movie that hasn't yet been released. And there's also a backstory between all the characters, and it's the books go before. So you should totally go check that out because that is good. And I guess that's it from me now, so please leave a comment down below if you disagree with any of my opinions, or you like movies that I've mentioned, or even let me know what your favourite movies are. Bye for now.